Hi, everyone. Okay. I have a kind of a funny story to tell y'all. Speaking of money, um, I have something I have to deal with that's difficult, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it because because we talked about money yesterday. So this morning I woke up to a offer for a movie in my inbox that I auditioned for this weekend. Shooting in LA. I live in New York. One day, no transportation or housing, $400. So yeah, you know, um, I mean, it's upsetting at so many levels. I mean, first of all, I just want to say that um I could get a free ticket. I have enough miles on Southwest to get a free ticket. I'd have to get my ass to LaGuardia. I live by Newark, but I could definitely get there, and I have tons of people I could stay with. That's not a problem. Um, the problem is $400 because it's like one day, but it's not one day because they're not even definitive on the day. So I would have to be there for 4 to 5 days, right? And when you take into effect Ubers and my dog walker, there's the $400, right? It's gone. So it's like it's like really important for us to learn negotiation. And I'm really and the other part that I'm really upset about is I have a really good negotiating agent. And the fact that even had the audacity to offer me this, it's like a little bit like, it's a role that I played a million times. I'm kind of known for it. If you're a Glee fan, you know me as the realtor, Peggy, right? It's a realtor that, right. And so it's just, there's like on so many levels, it's an insult to me as an actress, as someone that's like been acting. I mean, I did a short film in Brooklyn a year and a half ago, and I almost didn't do it because it only paid $500, right? But I did it because I have a criteria list, and it matched my criteria list, and it was in Brooklyn. And they wanted me to make my hair gray. They paid more than they paid me to get my hair done, right? Because they were stupid and they didn't do their research. It would have been a lot cheaper to buy a wig. But whatever, not my problem. I'm not the producer. But I just was like, I have to have that call with my agent, and I haven't had that call yet. And so I was going to come on here and I was like going to tell you guys, I have to call my agent and be like, really? 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 Do you fucking think that I'm going to come all the way to LA to do a film for 400 fucking dollars? I mean, God, come on. I mean, it's just annoying to me that first of all, he thinks it's okay to and then it's like, congratulations. I would love to do the role. It's a great role. It is my role. It's perfect for me. But I'm sorry. I'm worth more than that. And it's really important to know your worth and what your bottom line is and what you're willing to do. And like, even with me and all of my credits and all of my things, it's hard for me. And I just wanted to share that with you, that it doesn't necessarily get easier just because you have a ton of credits and you had agents for 17 years. It does. Those conversations around money are never easy. They're just never easy, right? I guess some people are really good at it. It's something that was learned behavior for me, and I'm still learning at 61 years old. So I just want to say, I just wanted to tell you that because, you know, because it was kind of ironic that it happened this morning when yesterday we were talking about money, right? And that, that you know, I would get an offer like that and have to have that conversation. I mean, if he can, you know, like, look, if they want to pay me for a week, that's 2,000. I'll take it. I'll get my own flight out there. I've got that. I've got Southwest Smiles. It's important for us as actors in America to understand that you have to save your miles, right? You have to save your miles because this is the shit that happens. But we have to stand tall, all of us, for not getting screwed, right? Because, you know, and some of you might say, well, I do a movie for $400. Okay. Not me. All right. So, you know, we all have our bottom line, right? And so I just wanted to tell you that because I'm dealing with those feelings today and the fact that I have to have that conversation with my agent, and I'm a little perturbed that I have to have the conversation. Like he should know better, right? And so anyway, that's the scoop there. Okay, so that's my little share. And all right, so a lot of the streams of revenue that you guys were talking about were streams of revenue that you plan on having. And most of them you didn't already have streams of revenue in. I really want you to go back and look at that list and say, what is the thing that I can attack quickly? And there was also a really good question about, well, what if I think I could make money doing something but it's not really the thing I want to do? Then don't do it. You know, I mean, I think that I could make money doing voiceovers, but I'm not willing to go do what I need to do to build a voiceover career. Right? Like that's not what I'm interested in doing. Right? I mean, I love video games, but that's mocap. It is voiceover, but it's also mocap. And the mocap part is the part that I really like. So that's why I continue to do that. And I would be willing to build that even more. So, you know, no, it also has to, you know, don't just go build something because you think that you can make money if you don't want to do it. Right. But also look at what you think you can make money doing the quickest. That would help. So like, I mean, Dijon, if you guys didn't watch Dijon's video, I thought it was really, really good. And Dijon talked about how he should be doing commercials. Yes, he should be. Right. And I know Dijon because I coached him. So I know what his deal is and why he might or might not be doing it. If Dijon, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, why you might or might not be doing it. But I agree that you should be making money from commercials. Right. And that should be a no-brainer. You know, most of my commercial career, you guys, was a no-brainer. I never had to work hard at it because I was very commercially viable when I was making the most money. Now, if I'd have put more time into it, I probably would have made even more money. Right. But I didn't do that. So anyway, that's what I think about what we did yesterday, but we're moving on to today. So that today is about identifying your product, your brand. Now, you're not, for you guys that have never done this kind of work, most of you have. So if you have never done this work, you are not going to be able to do this in one night. I just want to say that. I am going to be sending you with the recording tonight the Build Your Brand workbook. If you want to go ahead and get the Build Your Brand workbook, you can go to actorsfasttrack.com and download it right from the site. It's on the front page. But it will be sent to you tonight, the Build Your Brand workbook. And if you've already done a shit ton of brand work, you can do one of two things. You can just post what your current brand is and be done with it, and that's your homework for tonight. Or you could go through the Build Your Brand workbook if you would like to, and maybe do some fixes. Except Violetta, I don't want you doing that. Violetta, I just want you to post your brand and be done with it. Because some of you like can spend, she's like, she's doing this, right? So some of you spend way too much time. Some of you have taken a dozen branding workshops as an actor and you still don't know what you're selling. Right? Gracie just said my nemesis. So I'm going to give you a quick version of Valerie's definition of brand. Valerie's definition of brand is the essence of you that always shows up. The essence of you that always shows up. So the best way for me to describe that is imagine that your brand, that you're opening a restaurant and your brand is the name of the restaurant. Now, every restaurant has a menu and you have a lot of products that sort of match the name. So let's take Tender Greens as an example in Los Angeles. Let's take the restaurant Tender Greens. When we hear that, we kind of have an idea of what's going to be on their menu, right? We know what's going to be on their menu. Salads, protein plates, smoothies, probably not double fudge, hot fudge sundaes, right? But there's going to be items that are, and there's items on there that are their best sellers. So the name of my brand is Adorable Bully. That's what I've been doing for 40 plus years, Adorable Bully. The items on my menu that are my best sellers are the nosy next door neighbor. She's adorable and she's a bully, right? The nosy next door neighbor, on that's it, what I just got cast as I mean, again, the realtor that wants to be in your business and sell you a house. You know, I've done her like 5 times, right? And or the straight ass bully, like white trash, dumb as a bucket of hair, rather kill you than look at you. Those are probably my best sellers. And the characters that you tend to play, that you tend to get cast as, right? Usually they lay on a spectrum, right? And there's one end where it's like, you know, the bully, 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 and there's other end that's like, you know, Mama Sparkle, the character that I played on Disney, and then there's in between those. But they always have a flavor of adorable bully, right? So what I do when I work with a client is I help them write a longer sentence to start. And that's what you're going to do with this book. So my journey with brand was that in 1995, after working as an actress since basically 1965, I for 30 years going to acting school and being in high school and then working for 10 years out of acting school, I wrote a branding statement. That statement was, Valerie Hubbard is the buoyant, ballsy broad who will take you through the fun house. When I wrote that statement, that was really identifying that I had always been, even if I was in a drama, I was always the funny comedy relief. So, like, for instance, in a play like Orpheus Descending, Tennessee Williams, it's extremely dramatic, but I was Beulah Bennings. Oh, he ain't nothing but a purple bottom baboon, right? So, because Tennessee wrote these characters in his drama that were really funny. Most great dramatic playwrights do. Chekhov, Shakespeare, right? There's always someone that's like funny, and I'm usually that person in the script. So Valerie Hubbard is a buoyant, ballsy broad who will take you through the fun house. Buoyant and ballsy came from the fact that people were like, well, you're like Kathy Bates, but you're cuter. You're more bubbly, right? And so buoyant, ballsy, right? And ballsy is someone that's tough, but funny, right? So we teach you how to write that sentence in the Build Your Brand book. Once I wrote that sentence, about 2 years later, my agent said to me, you know who you are? You're a cross between Kathy Bates and Drew Barrymore. I was like, thank you very much, right? And then when I moved to LA, everyone was talking about log lines, right? And so the log line that kept coming up for me was the nosy next door neighbor, and or the woman that lives across the street from you. When you see me coming, you turn off your lights and pretend like you're not home, right? And so there were log lines that I began to write, and had my students and my clients write log lines for themselves, almost like writing breakdowns for yourself, because breakdowns are written in log lines. And if you don't know what a breakdown is, that's how casting is done. So casting directors put out a list of what they need for the role they're casting, right? And they write it as a descriptor. So, let me see if I can give you one. Okay, so this is the part that I'm turning down that I auditioned for. Let me give you female 50s, any ethnicity, a real estate agent, overzealous, obnoxious, full-figured. Pearl is overjoyed when her prospective buyer shows up early, as she loves showing off her brand new listing. But things go from giggles to gurgles when Pearl is suddenly and brutally strangled by a mystery murderer. That's the breakdown for the role that I just booked. That's me. Okay. So you begin to be able to read breakdowns and know, oh yeah, that's my part, right? I can do that part, right? So I did that. And then it wasn't until, remember, I wrote that sentence in 1995. In 2018, a client said to me, oh, you're the adorable bully. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm like, that only took me 100 years to get to. So you don't have to know your brand to make money as actor, but the more specific you are about what you're selling, the more likely people are going to buy. Because this is the most important thing I need you to hear today. A confused mind doesn't buy. I'm going to say that again. A confused mind doesn't buy. If they don't know what to do with you in 5 seconds, they will do nothing with you. Okay? If they don't know who you are or what you have to offer, or what you can do for them, or what kind of roles you can play, then, they're not going to do anything with you. Right? Now, certain people are automatically branded by the body that they have. Right? But then other people need to work a little hard at it to find their niche, to find where and then to be really clear about what is the product that is the easiest thing for you to sell. Like, what is the thing that people are going to buy? So what I'd like you to do is, I would like you to, I said, if you, like I said, if you've never done this work before, fill out the branding workbook, right? And then share some of your work on the Facebook. If you know your brand, you're clear about your brand, you've really worked it, you know what it is, then put that. And I really recommend that you guys that have done a lot of branding work, that are really clear about what your brand is and you know what it is, please share it so other people can see it and they can be like, oh, okay, right? Like, I see that, or, oh, that makes sense. Because, and we all talk about our brands in a different way. In fact, for you guys that know Scott, our other coach, he teaches brand a little different than I do, right? But that's okay, right? It's like, the most important thing is that you know how to talk about yourself as a product. Because look, if I'm a producer and I'm looking to cast something, I'm not looking for an actor. I'm looking for an overzealous, obnoxious, full-figured woman. I'm not looking for an actor. I'm looking for an overzealous, obnoxious, full-figured woman. That's like saying, I want to go out to eat. Okay, well, what do we have over here? We're a restaurant. Okay, but you're a restaurant, but that's great. But you're a restaurant, but what do you serve? Because when I go out to eat, I want to go out and get sushi. I want to go out and get Thai food. I want to go out and get comfort food. I want to go out and get a burger. When I go out and eat, I want to go get something. I don't want to go to a restaurant. I want to go get the food that I want to get. So when they're looking for you, they're looking for a certain person. They're not looking for an actor. You all are actors. That's what they assume, right? They also assume that you're good at what you do, by the way. You guys work way too hard to prove that you're a good actor in auditions. Just tell the fucking story in your version. Stop trying to prove that you're a good actor. They have an assumption that you're an actor, that you know what you're doing. They don't not choose you because you're a bad actor. All of you guys think, oh, I didn't get that because I fucked up my audition. Nuh-uh. That's like, this is what you're saying. So be really clear. I'm going to show you what you're saying when you say that. When you go to the store looking for French cut green beans, you go down the vegetable aisle and you don't do this. You don't go Mexican green beans. Oh, no. English cut green beans. Oh, no. You don't do that. You just go like this until you find what you want. Right? So no one is not picking you because you suck. That's why they're just not choosing you because you don't fit the bill. Because they found someone that fit exactly what was in their head. That's how they're thinking. Right? So let go of that, like, oh, I'm not being that. Like, no, you just weren't chosen. That's it. And there was no judgment on that. Right? It's just that you didn't fit the bill. So knowing your brand and knowing what you do better than everyone else will also help you in the choices you make as an actor when you're working on the script, right? So they help you make those choices. So one last story. I have a friend in LA who has this heart-shaped little face, right? And she's like one of those women that like Betty Boop kind of face. And she can be that really kind of like judgy girl. You know what I mean? Right? So I had this audition. Michelle knows who I'm talking about. I had this audition for an HBO promo. And the promo was a couple of white parents meeting their daughter's new white boyfriend. And he was talking about a joke he had heard on that comedy show that a lot of Black comedians were on, that was on HBO. And he was telling this joke to these parents of his girlfriend. And the joke involved having sex with an animal. That was the punchline. And so you could see that these parents were having tea with their daughter's new boyfriend. And then he starts to tell this joke. And they're like, they're like freaking out, right? Because he's telling this really dirty joke. So I'm looking at this script. I'm sitting there at 200 South La Brea. Y'all been there. I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, this is Kelly Hughes's role. This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, this ain't my role. This is Kelly Hughes's role. And I look up and in walks Kelly Hughes to audition for the same part. She walks in. I'm like, this is your part. She went in there and she booked it. So I knew in Los Angeles who was going to book that part. Like I knew, right? And so, and I'm sure that, Helene, you can speak to this as a casting director. When you have a certain role, you have a list of people that can do that part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Helene's casting, so she knows when she has a list of she has a list of people that she knows can do that part. That's her list. And your job as actors is to get on Helene or any other casting's list to fit. So when she needs the nosy next door neighbor, oh, well, Valerie, see if Valerie's available, right? So, because I know she does that really, really well. Okay? That's your assignment. And you are lost and you don't know anything and you have a bunch of adjectives and you did some of the workbook, post whatever you have, right? It's a process. It's a process, and it's also evolution. Your brand evolves as your company evolves. And if you've never been cast in anything, then it's harder to do your brand because you're not sure. It's a guessing game, right? You think this, but if you've never been cast in anything, you've taken a scene study class, I'll bet you. And in that scene study class, they've given you a scene. And when they've given you a scene, they've branded you. Why do I know that? Because I taught scene study for 13 years. And every scene study teacher, especially when they give you the first scene, they're going to give a scene that they know you can do. They're going to brand you and give you a scene in their head, right? They're not going to, because they don't know what to stretch you in yet. They're going to give you probably what you can do in your sleep, right? Like when I first started studying with Terry Schreiber a million years ago, he gave me, like roles like that I could do in my sleep, right? And then soon thereafter, he stopped giving me those roles. He started giving me stuff that was more vulnerable, stuff that would stretch the stuff that I needed work in as an actor. But an acting teacher off the bat is never going to give you your stretch because they don't know what that is. Does that make sense? Okay, who has a question about? Usually there's a lot of questions about this kind of thing. Yes, Gracie.
Okay, so I have to say, this stresses me out so much.
Yay.
Yay, oh, great. Because I think, I mean, I think I know stuff that I'm right for being cast as.
Yeah.
But it's not how I see myself in my everyday life, and unless well, you keep jumping around, where are you now? And unless unless I'm just completely unaware of how I come off in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is always the question. What if I do stuff that I don't play and that is not me in my normal life?
Mm-hmm.
I would disagree with that. That I think that we are all diamonds and we have many facets of our diamonds, right? And one of those facets might be something that is ugly or not necessarily our favorite part of ourselves. And that might be the thing that we make the most money in. And it might not be the thing that shows up that much, but it's the thing that we need to polish and put out front in the front window of our store, because it's the thing that makes us the most money. Mm-hmm. I mean, Alan Rickman was a very nice person, right? But he played evil men a lot. So I'm sure that he had, first of all, he had a voice that could play evil guys, right? He had a vocal quality that could play evil guys. And he had, he had like sort of a great laugh. And I'm sure he had a bit of there was some kind of like probably anger or temper that maybe he had learned how to keep at bay, because most people that knew him said he was delightful to work with, but it was there. And he realized that he could make a lot of money playing the bad guy. Mm-hmm. So he shot, like, all I'm asking you to do is identify. So when people say that, I'm like, is that really true? Right. So don't look at the outside of the character. Look at like what part of Gracie shows up a lot in the characters. It might be something that's unflappable or direct or blunt. It doesn't have to be everything about you, but and try to do that to other people that you find versatile as actors. Do it to Meryl Streep, right? Because there's something that shows up in every Meryl Streep performance. And
Yeah.
it's kind of what it is, it's an entitlement,
Mhm.
even in Sophie's Choice. It's there, right? So it's kind of this, she was raised in New Haven, like in Connecticut, right? It's like this little bit of, I'm better than you, a little bit of New England higher class.
Mhm.
And sometimes she really uses it, like in Devil Wears Prada, but there's sometimes where there's just a tinkle of it, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So don't be freaked out. Just do the workbook
Okay.
and take it from there.
All right. I'll see where it goes. Yeah.
Okay. All
All
right,
right.
good.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Michelle.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. Yeah, my question was sort of similar because the last time I was kind of typecast was in acting school and I hated those roles mostly. And that was in my early 20s, and I mean it's 20 years later now, and so I think I've changed too. Certainly some essence has remained, but how do I go from that typecast, and I have to accept that, to a new one, to figuring out, what my new typecast would be?
Okay. First of all, stop with the word typecast, because like that's like a bad word, and it's not
Okay.
really what we're talking about here. We're talking about
Right.
like what is inside Michelle. I mean, I think that there is a brittleness inside of you that's
Mhm.
very marketable.
Okay.
There's a knowing you as an actress, and knowing and being one of your acting teachers, and knowing you for a long time, and knowing what your casting was in acting school.
Mm.
I think that there is um an um an elegance, but there's also a brittleness. And remember this, right? People are buying flawed people right now. Every
Yeah.
character in every movie is flawed more than
Yep.
ever before. So the flawed chick, right? Like you have a little Tilda Swinton going on. Like you have a
Okay.
little bit of her going on. It's kind of like also the fact that you have this Nordic kind of thing which you can key into, which is a little bit of you would have loved Jessica Chastain's Doll's House. It was
Mm.
amazing. So there's a little bit of that, a
Yeah.
little bit of aloofness, a little bit of brittleness with you, right? That I think was true in acting school as well.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not really about, because listen, I've been playing the adorable bully since I was 3. So our personalities don't really change, right? It's just that now I wasn't playing the nosy next door neighbor when I was 17,
Mhm.
right? I was playing the bully,
Right.
and sometimes adorable, like adorable bully is Mary Tilford in Children's Hour. And I would cast you as one of those women in Children's Hour in a second,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Because they are living their best life and being teachers, and then this terrible little awful girl makes up a big lie about them that there's for one of them some truth in,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I think that that would be a fascinating part for you.
Mhm.
I think like Kate Blanchett in Tar. Did you see Tar?
Not yet.
You
Yes.
can, that could be your role. You could play that role.
Okay.
Go watch that movie. That's a
Yeah.
genius performance,
Mhm.
right? So like I could see you playing someone that's obsessed with something,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Absolutely obsessed with something, right?
Yeah.
So there's something regal. So when I start to give you words, take those words and take them to the thesaurus
Yeah.
And then you start to go, oh, right, that's a word that I could name my store. And then
Mhm.
I could say, hey, I'm Michelle. If I'm pitching myself to a casting, if you're pitching yourself to a casting director, be clear about what they cast and what product you're going to pitch.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm pitching myself to a Disney casting director, I'm going to be like, hi, my name is Valerie Hubbard. I'm perfect for the shows you cast. I tend to play the adorable bully. That's all I need to say. Right. I play that woman that lives across the street from you. When you see me coming, you turn off your lights and pretend like you're not home. She's in all your shows. So I'm really going to sell that. I'm not going to sell the
Yeah.
woman from Resident Evil or the woman that I'm playing right now in the video game I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is nasty, white trash, awful person.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to even mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's important you're not always going to say the same thing to every customer because customers have different needs.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to sell because like in any store, you have 2 or 3 things in the window that bring people in.
Yeah.
Right? You don't put everything out on display because remember, a confused mind doesn't buy. I'm this and I'm that, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm this and I'm that. No, generally we're about 2 to 3 things. All of it that I have done 2 to 3 things, some semblance of those 2 to 3 characters for the last 57 years.
Okay. Yep.
One of those 3 characters if you dripped them down, if you filtered them down, those would be my characters.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
Gotcha.
yeah. And even if you filter down Robert De Niro or Meryl Streep or the people that you think of as being very versatile, you'll see an essence that comes through.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm kind of trying to get at, like wade through all the things to get to the essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Maggie.
Hi. Sadly, I still don't really have a handle on my brand. So I have to do this exercise yet again. I've got stuff, but I mean, I think when we talk about my brand, basically you're like, oh, you don't need it. You've got the credits, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of want to know.
But Maggie, I think that you do.
I do.
I mean, I think that I think that probably one of your Achilles heels, Maggie, is that that you have a plan and you're walking out the door and you're like, oh, but what if I did this? And I see you do that a lot. Like, oh, but this could also be true. Right. Or what about this? Right. And there's nothing like you need to tame that horse inside of you. I mean, I think it's great to think about it and expand, but to say that you don't know who you are, I don't agree with that. I think that you do know that. I think that if you want to get more clarity, but be really careful because actors tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have so much already. So just if you want to add to it, that's fine. I personally think you don't need to, but if you want to do that, because like you don't need to add more salt to the porridge. Like, we're stirring our soup, it's all ready. And you're like, well, what if we added some oregano? What if we added some of this, right? Okay. But I think it's fine. We can eat the soup right now.
Right. But I love hearing your story every time. And then this is how Adorable Bully came to be. And this is how, the lady across the street, when you see her coming your way, you turn off the lights and pretend not at him. I don't have those jewels. I think those are fantastic.
I don't agree. You do have those. Go right back and read the breakdown for every role that you've ever played. Go read those breakdowns. If you have those breakdowns on some of those breakdowns, I'll bet you have those. I mean, the woman from 911 that buried her husband in the wall. I mean, my God, she was a lovely, nice woman. Oh, come to mama. You have that very much come to mama kind of thing, right? The good-hearted, good time gal. but she also can kill her husband if he's pissing her off and bury him in a wall. I mean, like, she's not beyond that,
Yeah.
right? Like the good time gal on, the zombie show that comes out of the cabin with a fucking shotgun, and it's like, get off my property, right? She's a lovely person, and she probably was before the zombie apocalypse, but now she has to protect her property. You're the owner of the ranch. You're the madam of the prostitute house.
Right.
You know what? You've got a comedy tenor to you, which is like me. We both have that, right? It's harder for us to do straight out drama. You've done a little bit more than me, but because you do have that kind of dramedy sense about you, right? Like I have it a lot. So we really have to sell them on drama if it's straight out drama with me. By the way, my agent just called me.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, I'll call him
Oh,
back.
I'll let you go. But I
No,
will
no,
say
no.
that I've done a lot of straight drama because
Yeah.
it was like go to what you can do. So mostly dramatic roles on television series has been my second to commercials has been my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But I love it when they let me play somebody who's got a little kookiness to her.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you definitely have a kooky tenor that you can drum up, but and you have played that.
Yeah.
Dawn said you have some Barbara Stanwyck in you. Yeah, you do have the woman that runs the ranch. You definitely have that. Like, the woman that runs the winery, like, what was that? Falcon Crest or whatever, the 80s show. Like you could play the grand dame, the owner of the company, the CEO, but it's a ranch. Like you could be on Dallas or Falcon Crest or one of those shows. Like you're working the land, but you're the boss.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's lovely.
Because you
Thank
do have that good time girl thing. You really have that. So yeah, great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Maggie.
Thank you.
Hey, Martina.
Hello.
Hello.
I've got a question that is actually about reaching out. So you were saying that mainly when you have a customer, you reach out like you were supposed to reach out like at least like 15 times.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, for example, about like directors, producers, writers. So when I reach out to them, I would do it like twice. If I don't get a reply, I wouldn't get back again, like maybe 3 times, but then in a different, like I was thinking, would you rather do in a different way or like
Yeah,
how
that's like a fucking huge question. Like it's really hard for me to answer that in this short amount of time right this minute. But because marketing has sequencing and sequencing has there's a lot of things to it. First of all, when you're going after someone, it's not always about you, it's about them. So when you first reach out to someone, the first thing you should do when you reach out to them, so usually with my clients, they know what the first 3 things are going to look like, right? So the first thing might be a pitch video, an introduction, like, hey, I would love to work with you. I think we're a match kind of thing. And then the second one is usually either if they didn't open your email, if you have an email tracker on there, then you can forward and send the same email. If you don't use email trackers, then the second one can be something like, oh, I also meant to send you this. And so it's kind of like, I forgot to send you this. That's the second one. And then the third one can be something about them. So when you first send something to someone you're beginning to build a relationship with, you need to track them on IMDb Pro. So when you open them on IMDb Pro, in the top right-hand corner, there's a button that says track. You want to hit that button. So you begin to track that customer. And so when they get a new project, you're going to get a notification on your phone. So generally the third reach out is going to be about that. And then you just look for, and there's a lot of different ways. Like, for instance, we went to a film festival this weekend and we met a lot of directors and producers. So I meet them live at an event, and then I get their information. And when I get home, I follow up with them. 2. And then I send them, oh, I also meant to send you that. 3, right? And then maybe I let a month or so go along, or maybe I go follow them on social media and I definitely track them. Oh, I heard you're doing this project. I just want to say congratulations. Or go follow them on social media and start liking and commenting on their posts. So it doesn't have to be an email 15 times. It can be a lot of different things, right? To reach out. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you very
Okay,
much.
great. Yes, Violetta.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so my question is about not like branding, but it's sort of about, like, we were talking about streams of revenue yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was thinking a lot about indie films because they seem a lot easier to get into
Yeah.
than like all of them. But like I'm having like whenever I look up indie films, like casting, whatever, like they never give, my question is like, where should I start? Because whenever I look up indie films or casting or whatever, there isn't that much information. And frankly, they don't pay for the most part. And the scripts aren't all that inspiring. So I'm not sure where to start when it comes to like indie
Well,
stuff.
you have to have your criteria list.
Mhm.
Go out. So the best way to start in indie films is to make a list of all the directors that were just at Sundance that did shorts, right? Go after NYU thesis, Columbia thesis if you're in New York, if you're in LA, Chapman, right? USC, AFI, UCLA, right? If you're in London, British Film Institute, like there's a lot of schools there. Go after those schools and have a criteria list as to why you'll audition for something, why you will take it, right? Don't worry about what may or may be true. It doesn't pay anything or blah, blah, blah. Just have your criteria list. That's your filter. That's all you need. That's why we have those. Okay. And you should have one. You have one, I hope.
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Sandra.
Yeah, hi Val. Amazing as usual. I'm from this area where from this world where being very versatile was an advantage. Then I came to New York and I'm trying to focus. So I wanted to ask you if this was clear enough for you, if you were a casting director or an agent, a confident locomotive barreling forward with a touch of quirky sweet grandma and busybody on board. Is
I
that
like that. I think we could trim it up a bit, but I don't think you need the word confident.
okay?
I would start with a locomotive. That's funnier.
Yeah.
And I'm a locomotive barreling towards you, with a touch of this and a touch of that. I like that.
Okay, good.
The word confident is like, nah, you don't need that.
Right.
That's
Okay,
clear.
great.
The fact that
Great.
you're calling yourself a locomotive, you're confident. Right.
Yeah.
So just look for those, extra words that you might be able to pull out and make it, clean it up and tighten it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I think that's awesome.
Okay, yeah, I've been cast as Mama Rose so many times in so many different, companies that the
She's
word
a locomotive.
the word locomotive has been mentioned in several, reviews and descriptions. So I wanted to use that word, but yeah, I agree. Confident is blah.
You don't need it.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you, Val.
All right, you guys. So I look forward to seeing your brand, and what you're selling and what your product does, and beginning to identify that. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. I'm gonna go call my agent. Yay me.
Val, I'm going out of town and I won't be back till March 11th. I'm going to go do a sci-fi convention and make money signing autographs because Babylon 5 is the gift that keeps on giving.
I know, girl. Those sci-fi things can be really good.
Good.
Good. Well, go have fun.
Thank you.
Sell those autographs, make some money.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Maggie. All right. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.